This is Stock Day. News and interviews from the microcap world. Public information on the OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a very exciting guest. He is the CEO of GreenCoin Capital Inc., symbol GRNBF on the OTC markets. Danny Wettreich. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Danny, tell us a little bit about GreenCoin. It's a Canadian public company, but for us that don't follow your company that much, give us a little bit of rundown of GreenCoin Capital, if you would.
Sure. So GreenCoin, as you say, is a Canadian public company. Its stock trades in the States under the symbol GRNBF, and in Canada it trades under the symbol GBC. It's listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange, and its principal subsidiary, GreenCoin X, has developed the world's first cryptocurrency that requires users to be identified before usage. In case your listeners don't know much about cryptocurrency, all cryptocurrency except GreenCoin X is anonymous. That means the users are not identified, which obviously doesn't make governments very happy because they don't know who's doing what and can't tax people accordingly. And it also is a opportunity for want of a better word, bad guys to hide behind the anonymity of coins like Bitcoin. And, Bitcoin has got a reputation of being primarily used by drug dealers and recently terrorists, and that's not a good thing for any currency.
So what is the difference? So what is the difference between Bitcoin and GreenCoin X?
Well, fundamentally, the most important difference is that every user of GreenCoin X has to be fully identified to what's called the Know Your Client standards that are equivalent in the banking system. Know Your Client, or KYC as it's called, is what you would do when you open a bank account. You provide copies of your passport, copies of your social security number, utility bills, and so on.
And Bitcoin doesn't do this?
And no other currency does it except GreenCoin X. So we're the first and only cryptocurrency in the world that requires user identification. We've also addressed some other problems that are part of the Bitcoin world, which is, for example, currency stability. You can't have a currency that bounces around 10 or 15% in a day. And we've got a detailed plan to establish a treasury function to keep currency volatility within an acceptable band, which we've defined as 5% movement in any one particular day. We've also addressed things like longevity of the blockchain, which is how all cryptocurrencies work. And we've established a non-profit foundation that resolves the problem of long-term blockchain mining rewards. And we feel that's a very unique answer to longevity, which is important. People want to know that the blockchain that the coin functions around is going to be around in 20 or 30 years.
Absolutely.
There's no guarantee that, the Bitcoin blockchain will be that. Once all the coins are mined, they don't really have an answer to what happens to ensure that the blockchain continues, and we've come up with a solution for that. And then lastly, we're establishing a safe online exchange. It's important that when clients of exchanges buy and sell a coin, they want to feel comfortable that their funds are reasonably safe from access by the owners of those exchanges. And there have been a number of examples where the owners of online exchanges have, for one reason or another, negatively impacted their client funds. And so we've established a safe and free online exchange where client funds are held in a fiduciary trust account, so clients can be reassured that their funds are safe. And more importantly than that even, it's a free exchange. So that's also a new innovative part of our cryptocurrency ecosystem.
Well, I have a couple questions for you. And actually, we had some emails that came through while we've been on this discussion. Let's talk about counterfeiting. Bitcoin has had some problems in the past about counterfeiting with the Bitcoin. Do you guys have anything in place to prevent counterfeiting on the GreenCoin X? Give us a little bit of a rundown on that, if you would.
Well, it's basically impossible to counterfeit GreenCoin X. You have to be, in order to get into the GreenCoin X ecosystem, you have to be fully identified. That's one of the major advantages of GreenCoin X. So everyone within the system knows that everyone else that's within the system has been fully identified to KYC standards. And so that really reduces the problem of who am I dealing with? Is he really who he says he is? Is he a bad guy? Because effectively, bad guys won't use GreenCoin X because they do not want to go through the KYC process. They don't want to be identified, and so they won't do it. So that's a big advantage.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say that I have 3 clients that says, hey, Everett, I got $1,000. I want to buy some GreenCoin X. How would they go about that?
Well, currently the GreenCoin X and the symbol for GreenCoin X is XDC. That's the cryptocurrency symbol. It's traded on a half a dozen small exchanges. But what we're doing is we're introducing in a couple of months our own online exchange, as I mentioned to you. And that exchange is going to be the prime way that the coin is going to be traded. A, because the exchange will be very safe from a client fund perspective, and B, because it's going to be free. So stay tuned to the station, if you like, for the next announcement as to when this exchange is going to be launching.
And how will GreenBank benefit if GreenCoin X is a success in the marketplace?
Well, that's a good question. The reality is that GreenBank owns 60 million GreenCoin X, the coin itself. And the current price of XDC, or GreenCoin X, is approximately $1.15. So the asset currently is 60 million coins times a buck and change. Now, if GreenCoin X achieves the same market size valuation as Bitcoin, which we think is a very likely scenario, then the price of XDC would be over $58 per coin. But since GreenCoin X has the potential of being a worldwide currency, which we don't think Bitcoin will ever have, if XDC achieves just 1% of the size of the US market, that would be a price for XDC of over $900 a coin. So you can see the upside potential is very significant. And if GreenCoin X is widely adopted, then the price of the coin will go up, and our investment in GreenBank's investment in GreenCoin X will have a substantial value, which in turn will be reflected in the price of that stock.
I see that. Today, our guest has been Danny Wettreich. He is the CEO of GreenCoin Capital Inc., symbol GRNBF. It's on the OTC markets. Danny, in closing, let me ask you this. We're not talking about a virtual currency. Are you talking about that you can actually touch and hold the green coin?
No, it's a digital currency. So basically, like all currencies, the only element of currency that you actually touch and hold is a piece of paper. There's really an IOU. Only 6% of transactions in the USA are actually done with cash. Everything else is done with digital currency. The money's moved around through the banking system. GreenCoin X is similar. It's a digital currency.
I see.
And we won't be producing a piece of paper. It'll just be digits, which are effectively stored. And you will have an online wallet where your coins are actually stored. You'll see it on your online wallet, but as such, you won't have a touch and feel coin.
My guest today has been Danny Wettreich. He's the CEO of GreenCoin Capital Inc. Danny, thank you very much for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll check back with you in 2 or 3 months to see what has changed with GreenCoin Capital.
My pleasure.